My name is Julia Valderas. I was born in Artesia, New Mexico. My parents are Amundio and the late Ramona Valderas. 4 children were born in New Mexico and 2 later in California. My older brother died before I was born, and from then on I became the oldest child in the family. Then my sisters Maria and Tomasita followed. Tomasita died at 2 years old. I lived in New Mexico until I was 7 years old. Even though we were very poor, my parents were farm workers, I have nothing but happy memories about my early childhood. In 1946, we came to California. My mom's mom had died, and we had nothing to keep us in New Mexico. In California, the last 2 children were born, my sister Jessie and my brother Ezequiel Zeke. My brother died in 1989 at the age of 38. Even though at first we were migrant farm workers, living in many different labor camps, we eventually settled in Fresno. My father bought a half-acre of land, but since we didn't have the money to build a house, he set up a tent. We lived in that tent for several years while he constructed our house, which he still occupies. My memories of the first 6 years of school at Madison Elementary in the Central Unified School District are very sad and bitter. I did not speak English until I was in the 4th grade. I went to school at a time when we were punished for speaking Spanish. The first year that I was in school, I was one of only 2 minorities in the all-white school. Since I didn't speak English, I was constantly being punished by the teachers. I was spanked in front of the class, left outside standing in the sun for several hours, made to stand with my nose in the corner, and always humiliated in front of my classmates because of my accent and inability to pronounce the English words correctly. When I was growing up, I never dreamed of going to college. It just wasn't an option for women, especially if you were Mexican. But by the time I graduated in 1958, I was able to get several scholarships to what was then Fresno State. It was a big sacrifice for my family because there was no financial aid during that time. However, I lived at home, I had a part-time job at a variety store, my parents and my sister who had a job helped me to meet the cost of my education. I graduated in 1962 with a degree in business. I went on to get a teaching credential and a master's degree in business. The experience that I had going to public schools and not speaking English gave me the knowledge to work with all children, especially non-English speaking children. I went on to teach high school and later became a professor at City College and at California State University, Fresno. My parents' goal and dream was for all of us to get an education so that we would not have to work as hard as they did. They believed that the road to a better life was through education. All 4 of us graduated from high school and all of us went on to college. Because our parents instilled in us such strong values and taught us to be committed to our community, we became politically active. The Ezequiel A. Valderas Elementary School in the Fresno Unified School District was named after my brother. He was honored for his involvement in the community.
Viernes de abril 23 del año 93, César Chávez se marchó, de este mundo ya se fue. Tiende tu velo.
All the time that my family worked as farm workers, we worked without the benefit of Cesar Chavez and the United Farm Workers Union. We experienced firsthand the abuses of the contratistas and patrones. When we heard in the late 60s that Cesar Chavez was organizing farm workers and needed volunteers, my family was ready. Even though I was already teaching at the time, I got involved with Cesar Chavez. I walked the picket lines, helped with fundraising, took food and refreshments to the protesters at the picket lines, and when they needed to fill the jails, I volunteered to be arrested. I recently retired after 41 years as a classroom teacher. It was a job I chose. It was a job I loved and enjoyed. It was a job that provided me with financial security and benefits which I am now enjoying in my retirement. At 40 years of age, I found myself divorced and a single parent with minor children to support. It was my education that provided me with the means not only to support my family, but also enabled me to pay for my daughter's education at UC Berkeley and my son's at California State University, Fresno. An education not only gives you choices in life, it enables you to better provide for your family and gives you the opportunity for stability, especially when you don't know what the future has in store for you.